how are we? I hope you're well. Konsakicha here. It's another week. I haven't been here for a couple of maybe days now. Yeah, I have weeks that I just don't take up my camera and sit here and have a chat or yeah, I have those days. So anyway, I'm here. Hi, how are we? I hope you're well. So this video is a bit interesting. Normally I would have like a major topic that I want to talk about. First and foremost, I'm just gonna say welcome if it's your first time on this page. My name is Konsokijo and this is Inspire YG. YG is an acronym for Young Generation, and just like to give a little bit of a background of how this started. So it's mainly I share my journey as an international student. Moved to Australia 8 years ago now, and came here for studies from Kenya, East Africa. And yeah, I've just had an interesting journey, and so I thought, why not share it, for someone out there, even for unborn kids who might one day want to travel from their countries of birth to travel to a different country for studies. I just thought my experience or some of the things that I've gone through or that I've experienced might give a bit of insight of how that journey might look like. It's very different for everybody, but I believe that life experiences by and large are not so different. We can always learn from each other. And so this video is actually, I'm just gonna give a bit of life updates. Like sometimes things happen and one of those person who when things are going well, I tend to flow, and then when things just hit me, I get knocked out. And I literally get knocked out, and I get knocked out of every single area of my life. And I feel like I've had those kinds of ups and downs in the past couple of weeks. And yeah, it's just been, oh guys, I hope you can hear me. I'm just feeling so much disruption outside. There's just so much going on. I think there was a flight, train, buses. Anyway, I'm in the middle of the road. That's where I live. So anyway, I'll give some life updates. So some of the things that I've gone through or I've learned in the last couple of weeks, one of them has been lessons on to be careful not to take loved ones for granted. And I feel like it's a very real situation that has happened in my life in the past couple of weeks. It hasn't just affected me, it has affected a lot of people around me. And yeah, it's just a major lesson that I've learned from that. Unfortunately, I cannot share. It's not information that I want to put out there, but it's just sharing lessons that I've learned from those kind of experiences that I've been through. It's just to be very mindful that, because sometimes we can get complacent, especially with people who love us, and we tend to take them for granted, and we feel like, oh, but they love us. It's our parents, it's our brother, it's our sister, it's our cousin, is our fiance, our wife, or husband, and we take them for granted because there's this idea that they love us, they might always be there. But the biggest lesson for me has been that it doesn't matter how long, even with people who probably are very forgiving, and they probably push their boundaries a little bit more, and so people can tend to think that, oh, this person is always going to be there, like they're going to put up with your you're not appreciating them, or it doesn't matter, whatever it is. I feel like the moment you take someone for granted, I think it's almost like a countdown. You are starting on ending that kind of trust and relationship and everything else that comes with that. So yeah, just appreciate people around you, appreciate people for who they are around you, for their kindness, for who they choose to be in your life, and don't take it for granted, because everybody has got a limit. And when that limit comes, you cannot define the limit for someone, because individuals are, everybody is different. So yeah, that's one lesson I learned. The other thing, another life update that happened to me this couple of, actually not happened to me, like I've been dealing with this for a while. It's tinea. I think you can tell. Let me show you guys. It looks like my skin color is different from here to here. So there is like a different kind of skin. Well, it's a skin condition and it's called tinea. I've dealt with tinea. Yeah, I've dealt with tinea for a while now, and it's sort of, it comes, it's an on and off kind of thing. And I was asking my GP, you know, my general practitioner, why does it come up? And he was talking about being around pets or sharing things, and I was like, I don't share nothing. I live by myself. I don't know why I struggle with tinea. So I've got this here on my neck, and it was a bit itchy a while back. So there's that like mark there, and there, and then there's one more here. Then just on my tummy, I've got a bit more, not too much, but a bit more. But it's not like it's painful. It's not painful or bothering me. It's just, it shouldn't be there. What are you doing on my body? So yeah, so I really had to go and see my GP. That train is so loud. Yeah, so I went and saw my GP, and I got this antifungal cream. It's called clotrimazole. So canesten, I understand. So I think, I don't know if I can focus it for you. Yeah, that's how it looks like. And I'm applying this a couple of times, at 2 to 3 times a day. I'm doing it two times a day because obviously I've got to work. But yeah, so it's really weird. I don't know why I've had to pause this video a couple of times because I'm having just so much disruptions. I don't know where all these fights are going. Anyway, so yeah, so I was talking about tinea, and that's one thing maybe some people have noticed and they've never mentioned it. And okay, I appreciate you not mentioning it because it's already there in your face. But yeah, so that's what I've been dealing with for a couple of weeks. I think I spoke about my maskne. I've been having like a bit of pimples. Maybe they're actually clearing now, but I've had a bit of breakout around my cheeks because of wearing mask, which I have to wear at work. Yeah, I've been dealing with that. I think it's just, fat cropped or whatever it is, but I've been having breakout, and I now understand it's called maskne. Another thing that's been happening, some news. So the thing is, I don't watch TV. I haven't watched TV in many years, maybe 10 years now. I stopped having any interest in watching TV, especially after I came to Australia. And yeah, now any kind of news I want to watch, I pretty much just watch it online by default. I don't go out looking for news. If anything, I think news come looking for me. But it's because news nowadays are so negative, and they're just filled with negativity, and I just feel like it's so toxic. I feel like waking up, if you wake up in the morning and the first thing you pick up is a newspaper, I think I don't think I think that would be too much negativity for me in my life personally. So, but I understand why it's important to obviously watch news. It's nice to keep yourself updated on what's happening around you and what's affecting your world, especially politics and weather and social life and everything else. But I'm not too pressed about watching news anyway. But lately, so there's a couple of things I follow. For example, SBS News, so I would know what's happening around international students, because that's what I normally talk about mainly on this page. My journey as an international student, but also looking at what are the things that have changed now that I'm not an international student anymore. So there are a couple of things. There's a couple of things I saw. So this news, my news, is probably outdated now. It's still effective. It's still effective, but it's a bit old news. So when I say old, I mean 3 weeks or 2 weeks old. So the Prime Minister announced that there's actually labor shortage in Australia. So for those who are not in Australia watching this, Australia has been on total lockdown. When I say lockdown, I mean there has not been people leaving the country or people coming in the country for the last 2 years since COVID happened. So this obviously affected international students and a majority of people with temporary visas. So people with working visa, backpackers, or international students, and obviously tourists couldn't come in. So what happened was, because of that, there has been a lot of labor shortage, especially in majority of human resource health industries, for example, hospitality, health industries, and things like that. So, the Prime Minister said, if you're an international student and you cannot cope, you need to go back to your country. And I remember thinking, excuse me, sir, you're gonna need these people, I think, sooner than later. Rethink your statement. And so it's almost like full circle that when he made, since the time he made that comment to now the comment he just made, to the statement he just made 2 weeks ago of if you're an international student and you need a visa, if you're a backpacker, come on down. And I'm just thinking, all right. Politicians are the most interesting human being the universe has ever seen or laid their eyes on. That's quote me for saying that, because I find like the most, if you want the definition of inconsistency, I think it's politicians. So anyway, politics aside, he has mentioned that international students who will come back to Australia, I think in the next 9 weeks, dating from 2 weeks ago, I think I think he said effective from the time he made that statement, and if I'm not wrong, it was mid-Jan, so 19th, 20th there. If you come into Australia between that time and 9 weeks, you could actually be reimbursed. Like there's a rebate, so I think it's around $630 Australian dollars. You could get that money back when you land in Australia if you're coming as an international student, and it's pretty much your visa application fee that is being refunded to you. For backpackers, I think the fee is a bit different, a bit lower, but I feel like that's some good news, you know, to encourage international students to come back. And the other thing that obviously as well has changed is international students. I think from one of my old videos, I used to mention that international students could only work 40 hours a fortnight. And that means, especially when the classes are in session, but you can work unlimited time on holidays, but obviously you're more in school than you're on holidays, apart from summer holiday that's a bit longer, all the other breaks are short. So that is minus if you're doing prerequisite units during winter or summertime, because if you're going to be a uni, then it's going to be hard to actually work more. So, but because of the labor shortage, they've actually removed that condition, and so you as an international student, you could actually work more unlimited time right now. And I kept thinking, wow, that's quite interesting. You know, I can understand why, but it feels like, okay, so when you need me, then you change your laws, you bend your laws to suit your need. But when you feel you don't need me, then you bend your laws to not suit me. It's, man, you know, I feel torn in between the statement, beggars cannot be choosers, but also feel like, I don't know how morally right that is. I don't know if there is some water. Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know. Yeah, it's a bit funny to me. Because if you have that condition that international student can only work 40 hours a fortnight, you have that condition because probably you think people are just coming to Australia to just work and not study. But if they're actually balancing the two, I don't see what the problem is. But the fact that it has just been changed temporarily because now there's shortage of labor, but there's a way that if that problem is sort of solved, then that condition can come back. Yeah, it makes me, it's interesting. But look, let's look at the positive. The positive side of it is international students can now work more hours, and obviously we all know the benefits of that. yeah, the other thing that was on my mind this week was, or the last couple of days, was investments. People who are close to me know how deeply I feel about investments, and especially property investment and land banking investment. So I will do a separate video because I have some great news to share with you guys in the next couple of weeks, about my journey with investment and working for different companies that were dealing with investment. I've worked at a women's only bank in Kenya. It's called Kenya Women Trust Fund. I'll give a bit of a history about that bank because it was just amazing. Just even the foundation and why the bank was started in the first place. But the idea that you could actually be able to secure your future with land banking, like sort of buying land and then doing something with it, because land is an asset that appreciates, so you can never go wrong with that kind of investment. So stay tuned. I'm gonna share some good news about this in the next couple of weeks. So that has been on my mind, investments and developing my portfolio when it comes to land banking. The last thing that has been on my mind in the last couple of days has been men's mental health. And I don't know what has happened, but or maybe what triggered that, but I feel like everywhere I've been looking for the last couple of days, I've just been seeing men's mental health, men's mental health, men's mental health. And mental health is a subject that is very close to heart. It's a subject that I'm very passionate about, and I feel the importance of stress management and the importance of self-care, and mainly especially for men, because I don't think there are a lot of spaces, even on social media or many platforms. They don't have spaces where men sit down and just talk about their mental health, and especially African men. It's sort of so stigmatized that when men show vulnerability is seen as a sign of weakness, and it's like when you're cut, you bleed red, you know, you feel when you're hit by a table. If you're walking, when you're hit by a table, you're gonna feel pain just as much as another woman, or a woman will feel pain. So why is it that we don't? Why is it that topics of men and mental health are so stigmatized? And I just don't understand. That has been so much heavily on my mind, and yeah, it has affected me a lot, because I feel deep, and I think I've spoken about my personality and where I feel for people. For example, we have this, the story that came out the other day, Regina King, who is a lady I love because I loved watching Boondocks. Don't know whether you watched Boondocks, but I'll put a clip here so that you see Boondocks. If you haven't, go look for it. I'm not sure whether it was banned or I don't know. I just loved Boondocks when we were young. That's a show we watched. But Regina King did a very good job, with acting, with her voiceovers in that movie. I mean, that series. So hearing that Hassan, what happened to Hassan, that he reached that point where he felt like his pain was too much, and he didn't want to live anymore. That made me a bit sad, and the fact that that's her out. Literally, that was her only child. To think of, we know about her because obviously we know of her situation being highlighted because she's a celebrity, but there's so many other women around the world who've gone through the same. It's not easy when your child leaves you on earth, when you brought them on earth. I mean, when when you get back to them and you raise them and then they leave you, it's I cannot even imagine that kind of pain. And so I felt like I would do this video because I've been doing research. My minor in uni was psychology, and I did a unit on mental health, and I've been doing, self-work of doing even with my CPD, the continuous progress, stuff that we do when you're accredited. I've been looking so much into mental health stuff, and I feel like it's a duty of all of us, if we have any type of platform, to actually talk about mental health, and especially mental health men and mental health. So I will recommend a couple of books, and these are books I bought. I've recommended to some of my guy friends, um, you know, but I also got them for a person who's close to my heart, and I'm gonna share them here. I'm gonna share the three of them. I think when men write books, when they've already accepted their situation, they've gone through stuff and they've accepted, look, I struggled with mental health, or I struggled with something connected to mental health, and then they write books sharing that, I think it's powerful for another, man to man. I think it's powerful when they can read books that they have written themselves, because then I feel like that's even much better. They can understand. Men have ways that they understand each other, because they think very differently from how women think. And so I'll share those three books because I think they're very powerful, and the way they've been written, they're powerful. Obviously one is by Will Smith. I love Will Smith, and who doesn't? The Fresh Prince. So I gifted that book, and also there's another one, Men Also Cry, something like that. I don't think whether that's the title. I'll put it here. And another one that is a really good book about marriage, and the journey, that kind of journey, written by an amazing author and counselor from Kenya. So I'll write that book. I'll put those books here. And if you're a lady, and tomorrow is Valentine, look, if you're wondering which gift you can give to, your friend, your spouse, your brother, your father, it doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's a male figure in your life, I would recommend these three books. You can find them on Amazon. They're not going to break your bank, and I think it's something good to give, to gift a man, so that they can connect, with themselves, but also connect with their journey, and not feel like they cannot share anything, even if it's just believing in their heart that they should open up, to people that they trust, so that they don't have to suffer in silence. So those are the things that have been on my mind. I know I've been away. And look, I decided to say that, I'll take, self-care is very important to me, and I decided that this is the one year I'm going to be very intentional. And that's why, because sometimes you want consistency, and especially myself, because I'm such a melancholy, those people who just want things perfect. There's nothing like perfection. We're not even in a perfect world ourselves. But I can push myself, and I'm very hard on myself. Even when sometimes I'm feeling sick, I still want to push myself to go to work, and I know it's not healthy. So I'm finding myself becoming very self-aware and very self-conscious, and creating those that awareness around me and within me, to be able to know when I need to step back and take a break, and know how I'm feeling, and know how I'm traveling, and it's almost like a catch up with myself. So anyway, I hope some of the things that I mentioned here were helpful, but I just thought I'd do like life update today, just a little bit, and then maybe from next week I'll come up, and I can't wait to speak about the investment, and especially those kind of topics that zinatujenga, we are growing. Just spoke Swahili, zinatujenga. For those who don't know Swahili is a very good language to learn, and I wish I spoke Swahili fluent, because that's all I would be speaking. But anyway, that's a topic of another day. Thank you guys for popping in here. If it's your first time popping in, please subscribe. I'm gonna put the links here. You can also follow me on Instagram, on Facebook or Instagram, at InspireYG on both. And stay tuned. Great things are coming. We are growing slowly but surely. Thank you so much for the people who subscribed. I appreciate it. And until the next time, God bless you. Bye.